Today we have a 2006, it's a Hyundai Accent. The customer complaint is when they get in the car and they drive the car, the car rumbles as they're driving. I did drive it, I pulled the car inside the shop, obviously, and I just want to point out what's going on and how we're going to go about diagnosing and repairing this issue. One thing that I did, that I pointed out to this customer here who actually thought it was something different. When you have a check engine light that's on, it's serious. When you have a check engine light that's on and blinking, it's extremely serious and you should not drive the car. By driving the car, when that light is blinking, it means that the misfire or the problem in the car is so bad that you're actually going to destroy the catalytic converters. You don't want to change the catalytic converter if you can avoid it. Let me just show you what's going on. I'm going to bring you up front, I'm going to let you listen to it, and then we're going to scan it and find out what's going on. First thing you're going to see is you look on the dashboard, you'll see that that check engine light is blinking. When you got a blinking light, that's the real serious issue. As you can see, I don't know if you can hear it, but you can see that rumble in the engine. So, all right, let me get my scan tool. We're going to check it and we're going to find out what's going on. And then I'm going to show you how you can check this without a scan tool. But let me scan it first and I'll show you. Let me grab it and we'll come right back. Okay, so now we scanned it to find out what's going on, and as you can see, it's got a couple of codes in there. The oxygen sensor, it's bank 1 sensor 1, that's that 132, random misfire detected, and the cylinder number 1 misfire detected. So most likely the code for the oxygen sensor is going to be a false code, because this guy was driving this thing for a while with the misfire taking place, and therefore he could have just set a false code with the rest of it. So before we do anything with this O2 sensor, we are going to check this further to find out what's going on with the misfire that's detected in the engine in number 1 cylinder. So all right, let me get up front, and we're going to scan this thing. We're going to go underneath the hood and we're going to get access to number 1 cylinder so we could find out what's happening up in the front there. All right, let's get up there and continue. Okay, now we need to gain access to the to underneath here where the coils are. What you have to do is take out the 4 10mm bolts that actually secure the cover over the top here. Now this exposes where the coils are actually located. Number 1 is actually the number 1 is the one that's the closest to the fan belts, right up in here. So this one is number 1. So we're going to take this coil off. Now, there's a way you can test it with an ohm meter. I'm going to show you how to check this with an ohm meter just to make sure that this is no good. So let me take this off and we're going to continue. Okay, so now that we have that cover off, you want to try to see which cylinder is misfiring. If you didn't have a scan tool and you couldn't tell which cylinder it was misfiring, I'm going to show you how you can check to see which one misfires without a scan tool, just to try to isolate it. Basically what we're going to do is we're going to open up this coil right here. You just push this little clip back on all the coils, like that. Some of them are a little rough to get to. Right? Now what we're going to do is we're going to start the car up and we're going to actually push this little clip in here and we're going to remove each coil one at a time, and we'll see which one is not firing and which one are firing. So let me start this up and I'm going to show you how to do it. Okay, as you can see, the engine is rocking and there's a misfire. You take this piece and you push it in and you take it off. Did the engine speed change? No. Did the rock get worse? No. So we're going to plug that back on now. We'll go to number 2 cylinder. We'll do the same thing here. Push it in and pull it out. You see how that misfire got worse? Got better? Got worse. So we know number 2 cylinder is firing. Now we do the same thing on number 3 and number 4. Unplug number 3. You hear that? You hear that misfire got worse? So we know number 3 is firing. You got better? Worse. So we know number 3 is firing. Number 4, we're going to do the same exact thing. See how that starts shaking even worse? So we know number 4 is firing too. The one that we know is not firing is number 1. So even without a scan tool, you can see which cylinder is misfiring if you do it like this. Obviously we didn't do that. We do have a scan tool, so we knew number 1 was the culprit. So, all right, I'm going to get an ohm meter. I'm going to show you how to check the resistance in this, and then we're going to order a coil up and we'll put it back together. But let me grab an ohm meter, and we're going to check the resistance. So let me shut this off. Okay, so now after we confirm that that misfire is in that cylinder, we want to rotate the coils just to make sure that the misfire travels to the other cylinder. So we just pull this out, take this coil, put it into this cylinder, put this coil into this cylinder, so now by rotating the coil, if the misfire is still here, then we know that the problem is something to do with an injector or a bad cylinder. If the misfire now travels to here, then we know that the misfire is caused by the coil. I already know that the coil is no good because this car has only got 33,000 miles on it, and I've been working on it for a long time. But I'm going to show you anyway. Let's start this up. Alright, so now, if we unplug this one and nothing happens, then we know that the cylinder is the problem. And now you see I unplugged, you see the misfire change there? See that? So that cylinder is now misfiring. This cylinder now, let's see. You see? The misfire traveled now from one cylinder to the other. Let me shut this off. So now by me doing that, this is where the initial misfire was. We rotated the coil over to this cylinder, put this coil in this cylinder. Now this cylinder is firing and this one is not firing. That tells me that the coil is absolutely the issue. And that is definitely no good, and there's not a problem with the injector, the plug, or the compression in the engine. So conclusively we know that that coil is absolutely no good. Plus it came up on the scan tool, so we're sure it's positively no good. So, all right, let's get the new coil, and we're going to put this job back together. I'm going to make a phone call to the customer, and we'll come right back. Okay, you can just grab a normal ohm meter. Doesn't have to be anything crazy. Let's take this coil out. Unplug the plug. Let's pull it out. Put our ohm meter right here. You're going to set it to the 200 scale, because a normal resistance on this is supposed to be 0.7 ohms, give or take 15%. Let's turn it on. And we're just going to go in to the pins here. And as you can see, it's way off. It's 1.1, 1.0. it's supposed to be 0.7, give or take 15. So we know that this coil is out of range. So, all right, so we're going to replace this coil. Let me call the parts store, and we'll order up a new one, and we'll put it back together. And that's pretty much how you do it. Into the coil, and the standard value is 7 ohms between the two terminals. So give or take 15%. So, all right, let's check the other coils just to make sure. But I got a feeling we're going to be changing just that one coil. So let's get out there and we're going to continue. Well, after talking to the customer, we decided we're going to change all 4 of the coils because he doesn't want to take a chance on this happening again and destroying his catalytic converter. So we are going to replace all of the coils. So we're just going to unplug them. Remember, we push that little pin in and pull it out. Same thing over here. This one is the one that we know is absolutely no good. This one was number 2 cylinder. And now we're going to remove these other coils right here. The way you do that is just take these bolts out right here. And the reason you have to do that is because you can't get in here to get to these plugs too easily here. It's pretty tight. See? And we just lift this out of the way like that. We unscrew the bolts that hold the coil in. And then we'll take these coils out. Remember, push that little pin to the side and just rock it. We can take it out. Same thing over here. And that's it. All right, so let me grab the new coils, and we'll put this thing back together as soon as we get them. Okay, and we're back. Okay, I was able to get 3 of the 4 coils right away, so we're going to put these 3 back in for now. And we just have to wait for the other one to get here. You just put them back in. I am going to plug these plugs back on because it's a little bit easier getting the plug back on now. Until it snaps and you push the clip and lock it in. Same thing here. Put it on. You'll hear it snap. Lock that clip. And the last, we're going to do the same thing. Push it on until you snap in place. Lock the clip in place. And now I'm going to push these down, and we'll put the screws back in to hold it in place. While waiting for that, we're just going to reattach this back on here. Now we can tighten these down and we have all 3 of them caught. Okay, we're waiting on our last coil. As soon as we get it, we'll put that back in and we'll start it up and make sure it's good. Okay. Plug back on. Okay, now let's start it up and make sure we did a good job. you go. You can see it nice and smooth. All right, very good. All right, now I'm going to put our cover back on here. That's it. Sounds good. All right, next thing we're going to do is we're going to take it for a test drive just to make sure everything is okay, and then we'll give it back to the customer and be all set and hopefully have a nice, happy customer. Remember, check engine light blinks. It's very serious. Don't drive the car. Shut it off. Get it to a shop or address the issue right away. The longer you let it go with that check engine light flashing, the more damage you're going to do to that catalytic converter. And you don't want to change a catalytic converter for a simple job like changing ignition coil or plug or whatever. Okay, I just want to add that actually you have to clear the codes out of the computer before you take it for a road test just to make sure that everything is okay. So don't forget, clear those codes out of there.